Chad Hasty Show, News Talk 790 KFYO. Thank you very much for tuning in. Joining us on the phones right now, GOP political strategist, a co-founder of MustReadTexas.com, Matt Mackowiak. Matt, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Chad. Doing great. Good morning.
Thanks for coming on today. Let's start off with a little Joe Biden talk. There are some reports out there that he will decide within the next 48 hours whether or not he's going to run for president. Given all the news and the Democratic debate from last week, what's your gut feeling on this? What do you think Joe Biden will do?
Yeah, I still feel like it's more likely than not. I think it's a close call, but I just think that what's really driving this for him is this report that his two sons, including his late son, Beau Biden, really urged him to run, and then secondly that he's been vice president for the last 7 years and really feels like he can do the job, and he's closer to the presidency than he's ever been. So, I think that my guess is he feels like there's enough uncertainty related to the email scandal and Hillary that he should get in. But boy, it's a close call, and obviously it's a huge decision for him, because it can either positively or negatively shape his legacy. And I think if he doesn't run, he still has a pretty positive legacy as vice president for 2 terms.
Yeah. Is there room for him? I mean, does Joe Biden get into this thing and suddenly cut into Bernie Sanders and go into second place, or does he enter the race in third place?
I think he probably gets a bump right when he gets in, and it probably does go right to second place. And most of the polling I've seen has him in third now, but I think he would probably get a bump, and he's probably better known than Bernie Sanders is even now. But the real problem for Biden is he's going to take votes from Hillary primarily. He may run to Hillary's left, but he's not going to run to Bernie Sanders' left. There's no room on his left.
Yeah.
So, Biden and Hillary are going to be competing for the same sort of mainstream Democratic voters. Biden got some news over the weekend that the International Association of Firefighters would endorse him if he ran. That's not a huge surprise. He's real close to that organization's leader. But it shows that Biden's really going to fight Hillary for union support. But again, one of the problems here is that Biden may not be really competitive until South Carolina. Iowa and New Hampshire aren't right for him. Bernie Sanders may win both, or Hillary may win New Hampshire. But either way, Biden will probably be 0 for 2, so it's going to make South Carolina a must-win for him.
Very interesting. Visiting with Matt Mackowiak, GOP political strategist. Matt, last week you wrote a piece for The Hill, the case for Bill Flores for Speaker. Tell our listeners a little bit about the piece you wrote and why you think Bill Flores would make an interesting choice if Paul Ryan somehow chooses not to run.
Yeah, it's all predicated on Ryan not running, which I think we'll know that as well within the next 48 hours. The House was in recess last week, and they're back in this week, and it sounds like Boehner still wants to leave by the end of October, which is kind of amazing because it's 2 weeks from now. So, look, I think Ryan is probably slightly more likely to do it than not, kind of like Biden. In fact, Mark Halperin of Bloomberg Politics had a really interesting story weaving in the decisions that face Paul Ryan and Joe Biden last week. I would encourage your listeners to check it out. But in terms of Flores, look, at the end of the day, in terms of who can get 218 votes on the House floor, which is what it takes to become Speaker, you're going to have to find someone who can win 10 to 15 votes from the House Freedom Caucus, the 35 or 40 most hardline conservative members of the House, but also hold sort of the mainstream Republicans within the caucus. And so I think some of these sort of more mainstream names like Tom Cole and Kathy McMorris Rogers can't do that. It's going to have to be a real conservative, and Flores has a number of things going for him. Number one, he has a relationship with Paul Ryan, having served with him on the House Budget Committee. He's currently the chairman of the Republican Study Committee, which is a 175-member conservative bloc in the House, which means he has a political organization and a whip operation, and he won the chairmanship of that very body a year and a half ago, surprising a lot of people. He's been very successful raising money and he's willing to do the job. And Texas is a great base, and his district is very safe. So I think he's got the right pedigree and the right mix of strengths. Now, I think the Texas delegation would have to really make him their choice. Right now, there's 3 or 4 people within the Texas delegation thinking about running. They'd have to really unify behind him. But if that happens, I think he has as good a chance as anyone at getting to 218 votes. Keep in mind, it's a 2-step process. The House Conference selects its nominee for Speaker, and that just takes a majority of 247 votes. So, you need 100 and whatever that is, 126, 127 votes to be the nominee, but then you have to get 218 on the floor, and that's what Kevin McCarthy said he didn't think he could do. So you've got to find someone who can get, 10 or 15 House Freedom Caucus members to come to their side, and I think Flores has, 20 or 30 House Freedom Caucus members who are also in the Republican Study Committee that he chairs.
Very interesting. Visiting with Matt Mackowiak, GOP political strategist. Matt, what can people find on mustreadtexas.com this week?
Yeah, this week, this morning, just starting to update, I saw that Brian Rosenthal of Houston Chronicles reporting that the state of Texas has completed its investigation into Planned Parenthood and is removing it from Medicaid, which is, I think they were still getting some funding through Medicaid, but they're not going to get that anymore. So that is fairly big news. Yeah. I was able to see Ted Cruz over the weekend, just yesterday in Plano at an evangelical event, a number of other presidential candidates. So we'll be posting a number of news stories from that event as well. You can find all that news, opinion, and blog stories from across the state at mustreadtexas.com.
All right, Matt, as always, appreciate your time, and we also encourage folks to follow you on Twitter at Matt Mackowiak. We'll visit with you later on.
Thanks, Chad. Have a great week. Take care.
You too.